Hi everybody. Hopefully you're joining us here live streaming. I am Morgan Young. I am the site coordinator to the Southern Alleghenies Museum of Art in Bedford. And welcome to our series all week long, Monday through Friday, of an hour of crafting. So hopefully you got the information on some of the items that you'd need to get ready to help yourself follow along with our instructor today in making some paper flowers. And I'm going to talk a couple of minutes till you might need a few minutes to get situated and organized. And some of the things that you'll need are construction paper, scissors, tape, markers or crayons, and some pencils. So while you go get those things and while other people are taking a couple of minutes to maybe get themselves organized and situated and joining us, I'm going to introduce you to Sharon and we'll just keep moving along a little bit. So Sharon Kelly is our newest volunteer, and she has graciously offered her services in teaching us some paper flowers today. So we'll pan over to her, and we're also practicing social distancing, so there's going to be a little bit of awkwardness in terms of cuts and camera angles, so just bear with us here. So this is Sharon Kelly, everybody Sharon Kelly. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you to introduce yourself a little bit more and maybe your background and what today's project is going to entail. And I'll jump in intermittently and we'll just give everybody a couple of minutes to get organized. So
great. Sounds good. Morgan is also going to be reading your comments, or someone is going to be reading your comments. So if you have questions for me while we go through the steps for our craft today, you can feel free to write in, and that way I will be able to see if you have questions, if you have comments, that sort of thing. But as she said, I am Sharon Kelly. I am a college English teacher, and I love crafts. I also make pottery, so that's my main craft. But I do all kinds of stuff. So I do paper crafts. I do needle crafts, which is like knitting and crochet and some cross stitch, and I know how to sew too. I don't usually sew though. My sewing machine is really heavy and it's kind of hard to get out.
Actually, Sharon, I didn't know that you were a sewer. That's interesting, because if this is something that everybody really is interested in and enjoys, one of the projects that I'd like to do, not this week, it'll be planned for the following week, is I'd like to show how to stitch and make your own mask, and I'd like to open this up to possibly donating the masks that then I can then transport down to the Bedford Hospital or for medical staff to use. So we might be seeing Sharon again here to help with making masks.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, and I haven't fixed all of the details. I don't have it all planned out just yet, but it'll be about pattern. We'll have a pattern. We'll give that to everyone to print off on a printer, and then they can map it out on some sort of 100% cotton fabric. And then maybe you can step us through how we could stitch it, or even hand stitch it. Maybe hand stitch it together.
Maybe.
I have a sewing machine. Maybe I can bring that in and we can work with that. And I think it's good for everyone to have right now. And then even if folks at home were interested in participating in making these masks to give to medical staff, because you know, they're in some need of that right now, and that's something we can do to help them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So stay tuned, sewers out there. You might have another project geared towards you coming up here real soon.
Yes.
I'm planning next week, but it'll of course depend on everybody at home. If you really are enjoying what we're doing here today,
give us a like.
Yes, give us a like. Please comment. Let us know how you feel, what you think, suggestions, anything that you're thinking. Just let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Jolene.
Say hi to Jolene.
Hi, Jolene.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Linda.
And
hey,
hi,
Linda.
All right. I'll let you keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's great. It's great to know that this is going to be a continuing effort from SAMA. I think it's really wonderful to encourage everybody to find ways to keep our spirits up, right, while we are being responsible and socially isolating. I have been socially isolating for a long time because I live way out in the boonies. So I have been socially isolating for about 3 weeks already.
This is an old hat to you. You already know what's going on.
I have practice, yes, and it really is a struggle some days to find things to do that makes us happy. So that's why I thought about doing flowers today, because I have been really loving seeing the new spring flowers come up. Just within about the last week, we in this region have seen daffodils come up, snowdrops a little bit earlier than that, but in my yard we have daffodils, we have crocuses, lots of crocuses, bright purple, they're very beautiful, and we have some hyacinths. I next year want to plant some grape hyacinths. I think they're really, really cute. But today I brought with me some daffodils from my own garden. Maybe we can make some daffodils. Maybe that's what we'll do first. I made this one at home. And then we'll go from there. And let me know if you have a favorite flower. We can kind of think through how to make the different kinds of petals or how to use different colors to make certain flowers. One of my other favorite flowers, which doesn't come out until way later in the summer, is sunflowers or black-eyed Susans. So I made this one at home last night, thinking that maybe it would look a little bit like a black-eyed Susan. But let me know if you have a favorite flower. We can see what we can do about making something that kind of looks like maybe what you're interested in. Okay, so what I have gathered so far, what I hope you have gathered now, is a lot of things. There are the things on the list. So I have my construction paper over here. I have some things to color with. If you have colored pencils, that's great. If you have gel pens, that's great. But I have markers and I have crayons. I also have a stapler. I have tape, which is on the list. And I have scissors. We're going to use the scissors a lot, so if you feel like you need a helper to use scissors, don't be shy, okay? We're going to make some teeny tiny cuts maybe. We'll see what we get into with the scissors.
That's a good point. For parents with little ones, just be careful and mind your little ones here with the scissors and their interaction with the scissors. We don't want anybody to get hurt or cut or anything like that, so and if your little ones are too little, maybe they can just watch you do the craft or something to that effect, so that we're still kind of working together. And Sharon, I have to thank you for bringing in the fresh flowers. It honestly is just like a beautiful addition to some of this gray, gloomy weather.
It's kind of a yucky day.
It's super yucky out there. It's nice to focus on something colorful and bright and happy like flowers. And I mean, in all of this stressful situations that we find ourselves in, to pause and enjoy flowers really does change kind of your perspective on things. So
yeah, absolutely. Also, that's going to be your homework. We'll get to that later, but there's going to be homework today. Okay, I think that's about all I have gathered. If you have them, if you don't have some of these things, you could get maybe coffee filters. These are the brown cone style filters. These are number 2, so maybe you have some that are even bigger than this. That would be even better if you have number 4s. And that's what I made this flower with. So we can absolutely work with whatever you have at home. I also brought some basket style coffee filters, which are really handy dandy because they're already a circle. And some of these flowers, you have to start with a circle. So the fact that they're already this shape is very easy to work with. I think we're gonna get to one of these later, and for this one I also have a twisty tie. So if you need to run and grab something that you haven't gathered yet, maybe I will just give you a second to do that, and then we'll get started.
Yeah. You guys, you know, I have to, if you're tuning in and you're just getting here, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join us and to, you know, we appreciate you guys watching. I just want to remind you also, if you enjoyed today's session, that we're having sessions every day, Monday through Friday. that will be a craft of some sort. Adults, children, all ages are welcome to join us. And Friday we're having a particularly special class just for adults because, you know, we need some stress relief too. We need to kind of find ourselves focusing on something that's a bit more positive, and creative energy is the best way to outlet that. So Friday we're having an adult class, which it'll be a bit more of an advanced painting session on Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that will be hosted by Linda Calloway. I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there for you guys so maybe you can put it into your schedules.
It's not too advanced though, right?
No, not too advanced. Don't let it intimidate by any means. And Linda is an amazing instructor. She's one of our, oh my God, she's fantastic. She's a brilliant lady. She's a wonderful individual, incredibly talented, and her instruction is going to help you navigate no matter what your skill level is. You're going to be able to do this painting no problem. It'll be easy peasy, no problem at all. So,
great.
Couple more minutes here. We'll just get started, give everybody a fair chance to kind of get situated and get your papers, get your markers, crayons, anything you're coloring with, and any of your scissors. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you find this as stress relieving and some sort of enjoyment, maybe on some of these gloomy days, to bring some color and some brightness to your life, and
some cheer.
Some cheer, and we're happy to do that. We're happy to bring a little art into your life and hopefully fill your hearts with art, which is a good thing. Okay,
Great.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it over. And Brittany Lane, you are very welcome. You are very, very welcome.
Hey, Brittany.
She just said thank you for providing fun content, and you are very welcome. It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
We're enjoying this as much as you guys, actually.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun making flowers last night at home by myself in front of cartoons on TV. Okay, so I got a request here from Michael to start with our daffodil because I brought some in so you can have those to look at. That is what we're aiming for. So what I did last night was I really thought about the different parts of the flower. So you can make any kind of flower you want, but you do have to kind of plan a little bit to figure out what the flower looks like, and then think about how you can make the different parts make the way the flower looks, right? So I thought, okay, daffodils have this beautiful center part that's kind of tall and skinny, and it has a little ruffle around the edge. And then I saw that the daffodils have a lot of larger petals that are kind of further down, right? So what I made at home is with regular printer paper, and I colored the printer paper with my markers. Okay, so that's what this one is. The middle part I colored a little bit with a yellow crayon because I'm missing a yellow marker. And then the stem I colored with my green marker, and the petals with orange. You can see it's not a great match, but I was trying. We work with what we have, right? Because we don't want to go out into the world to get more materials. So today though, I'm going to do one with construction paper, so it's already colored. If you're working with printer paper, just remember you might want to color on it first. That way when you wrap everything up, you don't see any of the white paper. If you want, you can really make these any way. Whatever you want. If you want to make a purple daffodil, that is a-okay.
That's kind of the beautiful part about art, isn't it? It's like there's no wrong answer.
Yep.
It's your individual thoughts and feelings, and it's not wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is make the stem. And I'm going to do that by cutting a piece of construction paper in half. I think they call this hamburger fold, right? Hamburger fold.
I mean, it makes it, if they don't call it that, they need to.
This is hot dog fold, and this is hamburger fold.
I love it.
Okay, so I'm just going to fold it to find the middle. I'm going to line up the edges, and that's just so that I know where the middle is. And then I'm going to cut it in half in this direction. I'm going to use my scissors carefully. All right, and then I'm going to roll this a little bit to become the stem. And I think this might be a little bit bulky, so I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half again hamburger again.
2 hamburgers.
2
yes,
hamburgers. That does sound pretty good. Okay. So now we have what is a quarter of a sheet of our construction paper. Whoops, like that. So we have a quarter of a sheet of construction paper, and I'm gonna start rolling it along the long edge. And this is just to give us a little bit of stem to work with. If you don't have construction paper and you want to start coloring on your printer paper to make the petals, what you can do for this step is just use a pencil. So you can use a pencil as your stem. We're going to tape the petals to it, and then you'll have a really beautiful pencil that has a flower on the end of it.
It looks super cute and amongst other pens and pencils in some kind of holder, much like what you have here on the desk. It'd be really adorable.
So you can skip this step if you want to and just use a pencil as your stem. Okay, so now I have this teeny tiny roll. It's pretty tight. If I let it go, it's gonna go pop. So I'm gonna have to secure this somehow. So I'm gonna reach for my tape. So if I tape it just in one spot, I'm gonna end up with these little flaps. So I'm actually gonna tape pretty much the whole way up. Let's see here. We'll just smooth that out a little bit and get a second piece. Here we go.
Amina asked if we can use if they could use pipe cleaners.
Totally. Pipe cleaners is a great idea. Really what you're going for is anything long and skinny, especially if you have green pipe cleaners, they would look really nice. Pipe cleaners too would mean that when you have your flower at the end, you can wrap it onto something. You could put it on your mirror in your room, or on your dresser knob, or on your shirt, or right, you could kind of attach it to anything you want. You could bring your cheer with you. All right, so we have our stem. This is our model, so we're doing a good job so far. Okay. Now we want to start with the middle of the daffodil, because what we're going to do, kind of like we did with the stem, is we're going to roll the petals around the stem. So starting in the middle is what we're going to do, because that would be then the middle of what we're wrapping. Okay, so I'm going to grab yellow, and you can see it's taller than the petals, the middle part here, but it's not very tall. So I'm just kind of gonna make maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half, but I want to make sure that I have enough extra that I can tape it around the top of the stem. So I'm going to give it a little bit of extra. So I might end up with an inch and a half, but it really doesn't matter. You can
take some creative liberties.
Yeah, you can be creative. You don't need a ruler. See what I mean? You can just make it however tall you want it to be. So again, I folded it just like the green sheet so that I could have a straight line to cut. So we're going to cut out a strip for the middle. This is the middle part of our daffodil. Ta-da! Okay. Now, the middle part of a daffodil is tall, and around the edges it has kind of a little fluttery,
kind of looks like a trumpet with
trumpety,
like, this edge. Why don't I
ruffles.
I'll take one close to the camera, and then you guys can take a look closer.
That's a good idea.
Here we go. All right.
Manual zoom.
Is that too crazy? Is that too close? What am I looking like there?
Yep.
Good.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, nice.
So you can see how tall that middle part is. Wow, that's a very tall one. Okay, so what we're gonna work on right now is making those ruffles. So this could be tricky. The way I did it with this one was they're kind of square, but I think they look okay.
I do too.
Right?
It gives that frilly, ruffly kind of.
Yeah.
Really, it's a lot of movement there.
I'm gonna take it a little bit softer this time, because these are a little square and that one's very soft and ruffly. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna kind of make a little soft, curvy top. So I'm doing this just by moving the scissors closed with one hand and I'm moving the paper with my other hand. You can do it whatever way feels best for you though. Just be real careful with your scissors. Okay? All right. I meant to mention at the beginning of class that you should have a trash can nearby. I have one right here. But for some of these other kinds of flowers that I made, I had a lot of little tiny clips that I had cut off from making the petals. The other thing you can do though with your scraps is save them for later in the week, because you can use all kinds of paper when you do paper mache, which is Wednesday. And some of these bright colors and funky shapes could be really fun in your collage on Friday.
That's a great idea.
So if you're going to tune in later in the week, you might be able to use your paper scraps for your other projects. All right, so here's what we've got. We're making progress here, but I think this is not going to give us much of a ruffle. So what I did last night with my printer paper version was I made little clips. Just with the scissors, I made little snip clips. Okay, so be real careful when you do these. You don't need to rush. Okay, we're just gonna make them, you know, every so often. Doesn't have to be perfect. Some of these are skinny and some of them are fat. Totally okay.
This is the zen of paper cutting. Is where it comes in right now.
Yeah. It's pretty relaxing.
It is kind of relaxing. It is. I agree with you. There's some artists that we've hosted in the museum, like Kathy Trexel-Reed, and she does these elaborate paper cuttings. And holy cow, the patience it must take. But this is a little bit of a different paper cutting zen, but it's still zen. Still relaxing.
Okay, so now you can see what we have are these little cuts that made it a lot more flexible. And I think this is going to give us that sort of frilly look of the middle of a daffodil. Okay. The other thing about the middle of a daffodil is that it kind of gently tapers outward. Tapers outward means it just sort of gently slopes outward, like a trumpet, like Morgan said. So we're going to try to do that on our daffodil too. We're getting ambitious here. So you can take one of your other supplies, if it's a colored pencil or a regular pencil. I have a paintbrush. It doesn't matter what you use. And I'm gonna roll the flower petals, right? What our future flower petals. I'm gonna roll them around the paintbrush. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Hey, Mary Pat. Thanks for joining us. Mary Pat's gonna be hosting Wednesday paper mache. So we'll have to be sure to all tune into that. I know this is kind of tricky to see what I'm doing because my fingers are in the way, but I'm rolling this around my
like
tool.
Individually bending the fringe.
Yeah, so that what we end up with is this cool shape. See, so that it's bending it kind of like a trumpet. All right. I'm just using gentle pressure. Try not to pinch or you'll get a crease in your paper. We're trying to go for a roll here, not a crease. All right, let's see how we did. Everybody have this kind of cool shape? All right.
That was oddly satisfying too.
It is.
I was like, wow, look at that. That thing is pretty cool.
It's like a little, like a worm.
I was gonna say a caterpillar.
Yeah. Okay, so I have my stem and I have my inside piece. I'm going to start wrapping. I'm not going to tape anything yet because I think this might be too long. Right? So if we wrap this whole thing around, it might be an awful lot. This is a lot. Doesn't really look like what the middle of a daffodil looks like. Okay, so we're going to just chop some of this off. We'll let it Okay, now it's really fun.
That's a neat little decoration.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna chop some off. It doesn't matter how much. We're just gonna make it a little bit shorter, okay? That way we don't have quite as much of a bulky middle. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and use some tape. So the way I have this lined up, I have some overlap on the stem, okay? And that's so that everything stays put together. I'm just gonna tape this part on the outside, okay? Get a little piece of tape, and I'm gonna tape on the outside here. Okay, so I have my tape. We're gonna just wrap it around a little bit. Doesn't matter if it hangs over a little bit. We're gonna wrap some other stuff around. Remember, we have the outside petals, so it doesn't matter if the tape sticks out a little bit. All right, and we're gonna coil this around. Looking good. So that we have the middle of our daffodil. Ta-da! It's a little bit smaller than that full sheet. I think that looks a little nicer.
You know what you got there looks really nice. It's
Yeah,
very
it's
cute.
like perfect.
Very
Thank
pretty.
you. All right, so then we're gonna secure, now we have the whole thing wrapped around, we're gonna secure this outside piece with another piece of little tape.
I feel like I need to have like an applause app, so I can just push the button and it sounds like a studio audience clapping.
We could do that.
That would be very funny. All right. So here's how I'm gonna fluff these petals. They're already bent out a little bit because we used our paintbrush or whatever you have to curl them a little. So I'm just gonna push on them, just kind of. You can make any kind of noise you want. When you So I'm just kind of like patting on them so that they curl a little bit more and so that they're not all kind of matchy-matchy. Flowers have their own way of growing. We all have our own way of growing, right? So we don't have to match. We don't have to line everything up. So I'm just kind of fluffing these so that they're not all matchy-matchy. Looks okay.
Looks great.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna do our big petals, our outside petals. So, Morgan, would you mind modeling our daffodil again?
Not at all.
Let's have another look.
Okay, here we go. Help me. Am I in focus right there?
Yep.
Right there? Okay.
All right. So what do we have there?
This is-
6 petals, 7 petals.
There you go.
I've
6
got
or
6.
7. That
Yeah.
sounds good. 5 would be fine. All right. So they kind of sit more flat to the stem, right? Perpendicular to the stem. And the little middle trumpet piece that we already made. Thank you.
You're welcome. I always thought it looked like a beautiful ball gown upside down, like the bottom part of a
Aw.
skirt, like a little dancer
Yeah.
flying around, right? It's such a gorgeous,
They're so pretty.
it's an elegant little shape there.
And they're so cheerful because they're the first thing that comes out in spring. I love that. Just the first thing you see is this bright yellow. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna make the larger petals. Now we have to start thinking about how big do we want it. So for this, we had to think about how tall. For the petals, we have to think, for the outside petals, we have to think about how long. Okay, so, somewhere in there, okay? Again, you don't have to do any measuring. You can make whatever you want here. You could make the petals a different color. You could make them a different shape. You know, you could make more than 5 or 7. You could really make this your own craft. All right, so I just kind of think maybe what I have is about, I don't know, 1 3/4 inches. But remember, I have to have something to tape onto the stem. So I'm gonna add a little bit and I'm gonna fold again. This time it's a hot dog fold. And I'm just gonna, that's how I get my straight line to cut. Remember, it's not a big deal how wide this is. It is totally up to you, but this is gonna be the height of your petals, or length, if you will. This is gonna be the length of your petals, plus a little bit extra so that we can tape it onto the stem. Okay, so this is how big our petals are going to be, roughly, plus a little extra to tape onto the stem. But it's not in a petal shape yet, so we're going to make some petal shapes. What I'm going to do first is make sure that I have, you know what, I'll just fold it. I don't really need to write on this. I'm just going to make sure that I reserve my space to tape, because the next thing I'm going to do is cut my petals. So I'm just going to give myself a little margin, a little extra here, so that I don't cut the part that I'm going to tape onto the stem. Okay, so now I have like a little guide. I just folded it. You can draw a line if you want to. And you can sketch the petals if you want to also. So I have a pencil here. Maybe I'll sketch my petals. So here's my line. I am going to draw it just so that you can see it a little bit easier on your screens. Okay, so there's my line. And then if I want to make daffodil petals, they're not really super pointy, but they kind of almost come to a point. It's like a rounded point, right? So maybe something like that. They don't have to all be the same, but you want them all in a row. Okay, so I'm going to draw them. See how close those are together? We want to draw them all in a row. Okay, so this is 2. There's room for a lot here. I'm just going to keep going. So I'm going to draw my petals. You can take your time. You could decorate your petals. You could use your markers or your crayons or whatever you have and put some stripes on them or some patterns.
Make it your own flower. There are no wrong answers.
Yeah.
They're asking to see the petals again close
Sure.
up.
Here you go. So what I ended up with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 petals. That's pretty perfect.
See?
Everybody good? All right, so what we have now is your margin at the bottom that we're going to use to tape onto the stem. And we have these funny petals that are they kind of look like eggs.
I was going to say, it's like an egg shape.
It's kind of a row of little eggs.
But that's perfect. It's great. They're going to look beautiful.
Yep. The other thing that you might have questions about is I keep looking at my daffodils, right? I keep looking at them. If you don't have daffodils, or if you want to make some other kind of flower, you can have your helper pull up a picture on their phone or a computer, or you can use your imagination. You can make any shape. You could make, you know, square petals, or you could make diamond-shaped petals, or heart-shaped petals. So you can really use your imagination here, okay? All right, so now comes the tricky part with scissors. Everything so far with scissors has been pretty straightforward, but now I'm gonna actually cut out each of these petals. But this bottom margin, because this is what I'm gonna use to tape onto the stem, that bottom margin has to stay attached to every petal. So that's the reason, could you hold that up real close again, please? That's the reason the petals don't have a pointy bottom, because they have to stay attached to the margin where I'm going to tape them onto the stem. So I gave them kind of a thick bottom so that they'll stay attached when I use my scissors. All right, let's dig in.
Are you going to keep it all one piece, or do they all? Okay, so it's staying all one piece.
Yeah, they're going to stay attached to this bottom strip. I'll do a couple and then we'll zoom in again. We'll do the manual zoom in.
For those of you who have little ones, this might be where you need to step in and help.
Yeah, this is kind of finicky.
It is kind of tricky. It is.
So if you did a flower that had less of a distinct petal shape, there would be less cutting. Kind of like we did with the middle. With the middle, there was a lot less cutting and it was just kind of straight lines. You could make a whole flower with this shape.
That would be really cool.
Right? It would be very cool.
That
It would look like a
reminds me
firework.
It would look like a firework. It reminds me at the end of a turkey leg for Thanksgiving. Like,
Yeah.
It reminds me of the white little dressing that you put at the bottom of a turkey leg.
A little drumstick. Yep.
A bouquet of turkey legs.
You could make these at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, hey,
And you
that's
could
a
make
great
them
idea.
with brown paper. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to cut out one more, and then we'll give you a close-up of how I'm cutting these so that they're staying attached.
But you know what the best part about these flowers are? They never go bad. They're going to be colorful and bright year-round.
Yep. Okay, so here's what I have so far. If you want to hold that up real close. Thank you. Okay. So remember, this is what we're going to tape to the stem, so that's why it's so important that they stay attached. All right, let's keep going. We are halfway. Whoops. It is tricky with these scissors. This is a lot of...
It is, and if you happen to make a boo-boo with the scissors, hey, that's what the tape is there for.
Yep.
That's okay. Just tape it together and keep going.
Yep.
You know, the tape will fix most things.
Yep. But not your fingers.
Yeah, not your fingers. Yes.
So be careful.
Yes. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, be careful, please. And take your time. Go slow. Since we're live stream, this video will be available for reviewing and viewing again even long after we're done live streaming. So if you need to take your time with this part because you have little ones, that's okay. That's okay. You can catch up with us a little while later.
Okay. So here I have my strip. And again, I have scraps that would be super cool in a collage. These kind of look like the ones that got stuck together. They kind of look like a bridge or something.
Yeah. That would be really cool to collage.
Very cool to collage. These, you know, you could put them together. Whoops, I'm losing one. You could put these together and make some kind of cool, like, hourglass thing. Whoops. Slippery fingers.
Bow ties.
Yeah, or like little bow ties. Yeah, so these could be really good for your collage later in the week. Or to add some color to your paper mache craft. Okay, so how are we all doing? Is this what we have, roughly? If you're making a daffodil. If you're not making a daffodil, yours might look different. This is another one of those cool, like, woo, accordion, wormy kind of things. Alright, so because I folded the construction paper first to get this line so that I would have my margin in order to tape it onto the stem, these are a little bit leaning, and that's perfect. That's what we want, because the petals on our paper daffodil they're gonna be kind of flat. So I think that's great. If you folded your paper to get that line too, that's what we want. We want it to lean a little bit. Okay, in fact, I'm gonna just sort of push them a little bit more because we want these to be perpendicular to the stem. All right, ta-da! Okay, so we are ready to put these on our stem. Okay, so these are gonna lean away from the stem, so I'm gonna start taping with this side on the inside of our flower. Okay, so I'm gonna just sort of line this up, see what I have on the stem. Flip this around so you can see what I have. And I'm gonna tape this in place. Everybody good with petals? Yeah?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Now you can tape this any direction you want. I just taped it going up and down the stem for some reason. It doesn't matter. You can tape it sort of along the stem or up and down against the stem. All right, and then we're gonna start rolling. Now the petals are going to not line up perfectly, but that's okay for now. We can sort of fluff them out when we get to the end of the roll. They're very stiff.
They're looking beautiful so far. That's gorgeous.
Like Morgan said a minute ago, if some of your petals rip during this stage, it's okay. That's what tape is for.
Yep, tape fixes most things.
Tape will fix it.
It'll be all right. Just tape it.
Okay. So, here's my 7 petals. I did not rush. See how slowly I rolled that? They ended up kind of crowded on one side. I think it looks good. I think it looks good.
That looks great.
Yeah. Okay. So it's on the bottom, it's not perfectly tight. Let me try to show you the bottom. You can see how much slack I have here between the stem and the bottom. I hope you can see. It's not perfectly tight. That's totally fine. Tape. So we're gonna go ahead and tape this so that it stays. And I'm just gonna put a piece of tape like that and then wrap it around the top and bottom. So it's still pretty loose. This all can move. Boing, boing. But that's good because that's how we can kind of twist it to be tighter or looser to make our petals go where we want them to. So I'm gonna tighten it a little bit so that my petals spread out a little bit more, because they were all, you know, like they're all kind of lined up. Again, we don't want matchy-matchy. We want this to be free. We want free petals. So I'm just gonna play with it until I get it to where I like where the petals are. Maybe right there. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is put another piece of tape tighter so that they stay where I've just arranged them. I'm going to put a piece that kind of wraps between the yellow paper and the green paper so that the yellow paper stays put, so the petals stay put on the stem. That looks pretty good. They're still kind of clustered up here in this area, but I think it's cute.
I think they're looking great, Sharon.
Yeah, I think it looks
wonderful.
Okay, so then just like the middle, I'm going to give it a little fluff, and one just ripped a little bit. It's okay. It's gonna stay put. Okay, maybe I'm gonna kind of put my finger in the middle and make a little cup. Did you see that? Just to kind of give them some shape, make them look like a petal. Yeah, all right. So if you have more paper color options than I do, you can do a different color middle and petals. You can see the one I made last night. I made the middle real light colored and I made the petals dark. You could make the middle dark and you could make the petals light, and you can use nature as your inspiration. So some of these are lighter and some are darker and some are a little more orange and some are very yellow. So you can really, you know, kind of do whatever you want. Make it yours, do some experiments. These are two pretty different flowers that I made using the same techniques. All right, how's everybody doing? Do we have a daffodil?
Are there any other questions that may have popped up? Is everybody okay? Anything from? Good?
Yeah, we got.
Okay, I think we're all on
Everybody
board.
good?
I think that something that's important is to remind them to send us pictures of their creations.
Yes, I was gonna say that next actually. We would love to see what you ended up with.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so if you can send us pictures of your flowers, that would be great. So we can see how creative you are and how talented you are, and what you did on this kind of dreary day.
And make sure when you send your pictures in, we'd love to know your name and your age. Make sure you post them to the SAMA Bedford Facebook. We would love to see them there. There is a potential that if we get enough photographs throughout the week, we may feature you in our museum on one of our videos. We'll just roll through all the images of all the work that was made this week. So you want to make sure to get in on that. It's a good opportunity. So don't forget your name and your age and your craft. We'd love to see what you made.
Yep, and that's all week. It's not just today's flowers. All your crafts all week. We want to see those. Okay. All right, so here's our daffodil. The stem is very firm. It is very sturdy.
Wow, yeah.
So if you used a different kind of paper, that might not be true. This one you can see that I made with printer paper. It's harder to roll, so I kind of made folds. It's kind of flat. It's kind of a flat stem. So it's pretty sturdy too. So you can put these together in a vase for someone you care about, right? They look very pretty.
That's a beautiful way to let someone know that you're thinking of them and that you care about them. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep, you can put them somewhere in your room or your kitchen or somewhere in your house, just to cheer things up, especially if you don't have daffodils in your own yard. These can bring the cheer of a daffodil into your own house.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next I think we should make a crazy flower that's not even a flower. I want to make one of these guys.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
That looks like a lot of fun.
Okay. It's not, maybe, I don't know, what kind of flower do you think this looks like?
I think that looks like the peonies, like they're really big and fluffy and round, and they got a lot of like those edges, and it's really soft, and
it does look like a peony.
Oh, it starts with a C. I can't think of it.
Like a chrysanthemum?
That's a chrysanthemum.
That's what I thought. If you used all the little paper, like to cut them, you just did the centers, a bunch of centers.
Yes.
I thought it would look like a chrysanthemum.
A chrysanthemum.
Or a carnation. That's the other one.
I love carnations.
Carnations are wonderful.
I love carnations. So I made this one last night with just 2 colors. And today I'm going to be a little ambitious and I'm going to use a lot of colors. And this is because I told you already, I like to do crafts and I always save a lot of materials. So I have a huge stash of colored tissue paper at my house. Anytime anybody gives me a gift, I save the tissue paper for times like this. If I want to make something or if I want to make a gift that I give to someone else extra special, I recycle it. So that's why I have so much of this. And that's how I'm going to use so many different colors. If you don't have a lot of tissue paper at your house, or if you only have white, now is the perfect, any color you want. You could make striped paper, you could make polka dot paper, you could make, some crazy rainbow paper. So if you don't have tissue paper, what you can do is color plain paper, if you have white tissue paper, I should say. The other thing you can use is what a lot of you might have at home is coffee filters. So these are a lot like tissue paper, right? They're kind of thin and they're already round. We actually want a square or a rectangle. Square or a rectangle with this one. You'll see.
I'm so eager.
But these will work. If this is what you have, these will work. Probably construction paper or even printer paper will work. And again, if you have the cone coffee filters, these would probably work too. You might just have to get a little creative about how you make this shape into the square or rectangle shape that we're going to start with for this big flower.
I think that flower is so beautiful. Even if you only had white, it's
still
really beautiful.
Well, you could color it too. If you only have white, you can use markers or crayons to color it. Yeah. Some people who threw out some suggestions of flowers like rose, carnation, and the one that we didn't say was a dahlia.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great suggestion there. Yes.
Yeah, so this is, I think it's more abstract, but you're absolutely right. It could be any of those: a rose, a dahlia, a carnation, a peony, a chrysanthemum. And if you're interested in different types of flowers, you can look up different types of flowers and see which ones you like. See which ones might grow in this area. See which ones you could maybe grow in a pot. Like lots of people in school grow marigolds, but you can grow lots of kinds of flowers. So if you really like flowers, you should think about maybe adding some to your garden or growing them in your house. I have a lot of houseplants. A lot. A lot of houseplants. because I just think they're very cheerful.
That's good. It's actually good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Okay. How's everybody doing? Do we have other comments and questions?
Everybody good so far?
We good? Okay. All right. Let's dig in. Okay. So, I said I'm going to use a lot of colors for this one, and like I said, I do have tissue paper, so that's what I'm going to be using. But you can get creative and make this with lots of different kinds of supplies.
I have to tell you, Sharon, I love the idea of reuse, repurpose, recycle.
Totally.
What an excellent way to utilize leftover tissue paper from birthday gifts, from any kind of a gift. And then I honestly can see that flower then making its way to a gift that you give, meaning that's like a bow on top, and then you're kind of paying it forward.
That is a great idea. You could put it on top of a gift.
It'd be a beautiful gift topper.
Yeah.
So we're with the pictures. Make sure you send us pictures of what you guys make on Facebook, and then you can comment on the pictures on our page and send them to us via Messenger. Don't forget, we'd love to see all of your creations, all your creativity, how you've made these flowers your own flowers, and I will be quiet so Sharon can instruct.
That's okay. This is a lot of steps, so we are going to do this multiple times, so you are not missing anything. All I did first was I lined up my corners of my tissue paper so that it's kind of square, and then I cut it in half, because since we're going to have so many different colors, we don't really need very much of any single color. In fact, I think I'm going to cut it in half again. I think we want even less red, so I'm going to cut it in half this way. And I'm saving all these big tissue paper scraps to put back in my pile, to put back in my closet.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Brittany said she's using her leftover Christmas tissue paper. So she's going to have large green and gold and red. And you know what? That sounds gorgeous.
Yeah.
That sounds really beautiful. Those colors exist year round.
Yes.
So what a great way to reuse those.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pick my next color. So the red, what we have on the bottom is going to end up being on the bottom of our flower. So the color that we have on the desk right now, the red, is going to end up being on the outside, okay? The inside is the pink part on this one that's already made. So our first layer goes on the outside. Okay, so my next color is going to be this dark pink. And I'm just going to lay it on top of the red, smooth it out a little bit, and then I am going to trim it so that it's about the same size. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to just trim it. So I lined it up with this edge over here, and I'm going to trim it over here so that it's about the same size. Okay, and again, I'm saving my scraps for future crafts or gifts or flowers. Okay, so now we have red on the outside. Next layer is going to be this dark pink. Then I have a medium pink. So let's unfold that. We're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to line it up with one edge, and then I'm going to trim it on the other edge. This one I might need to trim this one along more than one edge. This is a nice big piece.
That's a big piece.
That's good. Okay, so this time I'm going to line it up with a corner, this corner down here, and I'm going to have to trim it at the top and along this other edge. Hope you can see okay. Alright, so I'm going to trim it along this edge. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to trim it along the top, which is going to be difficult because I'm right-handed. Okay, so I just rotated it a little bit so I could cut easier. But I'm just going to cut along this edge so that it ends up the same size as my other colors. Alright, so there's our medium pink. Okay, so now we have 3 colors, all about the same size. And now I have light pink. You can see where this is going, right? It's going to be really beautiful. Okay, so again, this is a pretty big piece. I'm gonna line it up with the corner down here. So I have it lined up with one of the corners. And then I am going to cut along this edge to trim. This one's a little bit big. Whoops. Oh well. And then I'm just gonna rotate it so that I can get to the other edge, so that I can trim it to fit the other edge as well. Okay, so here we have, I have 4 layers now, all my different colors, and they're all the same size. Okay. I'm gonna pause just so that everybody's on the same page here. Everybody doing okay?
Finding this all right? Okay, if you have any questions or you want to see something again, just as a side note, go ahead and message us. Let us know. We have some folks here. We're reading the comments in the background, trying to take care of all your questions. So if there's something that's not quite clear, or if you just need a little extra instruction, whatever it is, we're happy to pause and stop and help you as best we can. So write us, let us know what you think, what's going on, what you think of the project itself. We already had some folks send in some photographs of the little ones that made their flowers, and they are beautiful. You guys did such a good job. Such a good job. They're gorgeous flowers.
Oh, I can't wait to see. That's so great. Thank you for sending us pictures. All right, we're going to keep going because I know what time it is. So if you need to replay this later, it will be available, so you can come back and replay it. So what we're going to do on this flower now, to get this monstrous shape, is not a hot dog or a hamburger fold. We're gonna do an accordion fold. So we're gonna make it like an accordion. So to do that, I lined up all my rectangles and I put the short end facing me. Okay, so the short end is where I'm gonna grab it. So we're gonna work our way up and down, or well, just up, the long end. Okay, so I have the short end. So I'm just gonna fold it over. I'm gonna take all the layers and fold it over just a little bit, maybe an inch, inch and a quarter, okay? And then I'm gonna crease it. All right, so there's my first fold. You can see I had all the layers are in that same fold. You can see the red from the back came to the front. Then I'm gonna flip over the whole thing, and I'm gonna make a matching fold on this side. So I think probably most of you are familiar with an accordion fold, but now what I have is first fold, second fold is the same thing on the flip side. So then I'm going to flip it over again. We're just going to do that until we get to the end of the paper. Okay, so fold it up that same amount and then flip it over and fold it up from the back that same amount. Okay, we're gonna flip it over, fold it the same amount, give it a good little crease, flip it over, and fold it that same amount. Okay, and it looks like one more flip should do me. All right, and we are almost out of time, so I'm gonna just speed through this last couple steps, okay? All right, so once you catch up and you have this kind of fan look, this is the results of your accordion fold. Now I am gonna find my twisty tie. So remember, I warned you, we might wanna use some twisty ties. You could gather that from your house.
You can use a pipe cleaner.
Pipe cleaner, good idea. You can actually use a stapler. You could staple this in the middle, totally fine. So I'm gonna wrap the pipe cleaner. I want my light pink to be in the front, so I'm gonna put the middle of the pipe cleaner at about the middle here. And I'm gonna wrap it from the light pink toward the dark pink or red. And if it gets crunched up a little bit, that's okay. Like if your pipe cleaner is kind of too short, that's totally fine. All right, I think we are gonna keep broadcasting.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna
If some of you need to leave, if you have other things at 2, scheduled at 2, you can come back and finish with us later. But
yeah, absolutely.
Just a few more minutes.
Yep, we're gonna finish the project, and I'm gonna announce, talk a little bit about the rest of the week. But again, we're live streamed, so you can go back and watch the rest of this video if you have to go now, and finish it off, and then make sure you send us your photographs of your work.
Send us your pictures.
We want to see what you do.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah,
okay.
No problem.
Great. Okay, so the last few steps here are, now that you have this kind of bow tie accordion fan situation, you want to take the edges and flex them toward each other. So I want to pull this edge towards over here, and I'm going to pull this edge down toward here. And then maybe, you know, I can like pinch the middle a little bit to kind of talk the paper into cooperating. I'm just gonna talk it into cooperating. All right, so this is how we're gonna end up with a circle. Because then we're gonna take this one and pull it over here. And if there's not quite enough paper, right, if your paper doesn't really want to make a whole circle, that's okay, because we're gonna fluff it.
Valerie says that she had a blast, and she says thank you.
Hey Valerie, you're very welcome. Okay, so we have, these are not cooperating, but we're gonna fluff them and force them into cooperating. So see how it's kind of crunchy? As we fluff out these layers, it'll cooperate. All right, so, but we wanna get kind of a good start so that we know what we're looking at. Here's our funny flower bow tie so far. I feel like a big clown bow tie.
The rabbit on Alice in Wonderland has a bow tie. It's like, or the Mad Hatter has a big bow tie like that.
Okay, so now we're going to do one layer at a time. So my middle layer is the light pink. We're going to just crunch. Okay, so I'm pulling toward the middle, and then just kind of crunching. Just crunch. Okay? And this is, you have to be kind of firm, but remember, depending on what you're working with, your paper might be a little fragile. So you have to be firm, but, you know, you don't want to rip it. So be firm, but
gentle.
Even if
firm,
you did
gentle.
happen to rip it, tape is available.
Totally. Now this is the middle, this is the very middle part, and I want to kind of hide my twisty tie. So I'm gonna do a little extra crunching here in the middle.
That looks fun. That looks like you're having a good time there, Sharon.
It's, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so then I'm gonna get my next layer. And as I'm fluffing, if you want to maybe wrap things up, I think this, really all we're going to do here is fluff into a circle.
Sure.
And it'll end up looking very much like this.
Sure, I'll just let the camera on you for the time being while I talk, so they can still see your hands move, and make sure that they're getting all the instruction that they need there with the visual. So, okay guys, in a little bit of a preparation for tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're live streaming again from 1 p.m. till 2. Our instructor will be Linda Calloway, and we are going to be doing a drawing lesson of a dog. So make sure that you come prepared with a Sharpie, some markers, some paper and a pencil. Now for the really little ones out there, maybe a Sharpie marker, since it has that permanent quality to it, could be a little tricky. So I'm sure a washable Crayola marker or any other washable marker would also suffice for Linda to be able to step us through how to draw a dog, and I'm fairly certain that we'll be coloring it in too. So you want some other kind of materials. If you happen to prefer colored pencils, or if you happen to prefer, well, for other folks who might be a bit more advanced, or you know, because these classes are for everyone, if you'd like to paint, we encourage you to get all of that prepared, ready, prepped, good to go. 1 o'clock, we're going to go live tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the rest of the week that we have lined up too. And in case you have friends that you think that would enjoy this, or anybody else that you think, you know, they might be a little, here, I'll pause. You go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. I just ripped one of the layers.
See, tape fixes a lot.
So I'm going to tape it together.
And it'll still look perfect.
It will.
So anybody else that you know that might be needing to switch their mindset, get off of some current topics that are happening right now and craft it out. Just, you know,
Craft it out.
just get art in your life and make something. Keep your hands busy, keep your mind busy, and make something beautiful that you can give to somebody else or hang up or display for yourself. Make sure you have them tune into our live stream tomorrow at 1, every day this week, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. We will be hosting these videos. And Friday we have a very special day. It's for more advanced artisans, geared a little bit more towards adults, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to be doing a painting of flowers in a flower box with Linda Calloway on Friday. That is Friday. So the rest of the schedule for this week: Tuesday is the drawing lesson of a dog. Wednesday will be paper mache masks. Thursday will be the drawing of a bunny, which is holiday appropriate because Easter is coming up. And Friday, we're going to do a colorful collage with Jen Judd on Friday. That is going to be so much fun. And like Sharon said earlier, some of these paper scraps throughout the week, if you save, that's a great way to reuse, recycle. You know, that's a great way to save some of your earlier work for your later work. And then Friday night, we've got Linda with that advanced painting session for adults. If you happen to grab a glass of wine, that would probably help the painting process a little bit. Help you relax, the creative process. Don't be intimidated. This is for all skill levels. It's for everyone. We're here to help you create and make and bring some joy to your life. So that is what's in store this week. Don't forget, if you are enjoying what you're seeing and what's happening, please let us know. Please comment. And please send us photographs of everything that you make with your name and your age. Send it in to us. We want the photograph and your name and your age. And we're probably going to collect these throughout the week and scroll them in the museum when the museum's back and up and running and open to the public. So, all right, Sharon, over to you.
Okay, we are all finished. I really just kind of scrunched this. You could see what I was doing with my fingers. And you can see it did eventually become a circle. So you just kind of have to talk it into being the shape that you want it to be. Mine, I like the different layers of colors, and I thought that a leaf might be nice on this one. So hopefully you saw what I did. I just took a scrap that we had from our green paper earlier. I cut a leaf shape out of it, and I just taped it to the back. So you can do that with any of the flowers that you make. You could tape a leaf to the stem of your daffodil, right? You could, if you made a coffee filter flower, you could color the coffee filter green and then tape a leaf to the back of that. So if you wanted to do a little bit more, you could add a leaf. I did mention earlier that you have homework. So before I let you go, here's your homework. Today is kind of yucky out. There's a window over there. Today's kind of yucky out. So hopefully these flowers brightened your day. Hopefully my daffodils will brighten the studio here for everyone who's here this week. But your homework is try to find a cheerful plant that is new. Try to find something that is coming up. So maybe you have daffodils in your yard. You're already done. Easy peasy. Try to find little green buds on the plants around you, or maybe you have some of those other flowers that I mentioned earlier. And if you have a helper that could tell you what kind of flowers those are, maybe learn something else about flowers. But your homework is find some signs of spring, because we could all use that cheer right now, right? So thank you all for tuning in again.
Absolutely.
This was really fun.
Thank you
Kim
so much.
is asking again about Friday night, 7 to 8. Is that when the class will be? The
Friday.
painting?
Yes, the Friday night class for that we're hosting. Linda Calloway will be our instructor. It is Friday night at 7 p.m. We're going to live stream from this studio again from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. If it runs a little bit over, that's okay too. It'll just be a little more time for you guys to relax and paint. It's for all the mummies and the daddies and the guardians and the caretakers and everybody out there that's feeling a little tense right now. It's a good way to outlet some of that and to relax, and we'll be doing it together as a group. So hopefully I see you guys all there. Tell some friends. If you think they might be interested, let them know. And you know, when we're done with that session, I want your work too. I want to see what you guys have done. I want to see what you're producing. I think this is a beautiful way for us all to be sharing together at the same time, and we're utilizing art to do it. And that's a pretty special way to do that. So I just wanted to thank you guys all for joining us. So thank you so much. This has been a blast for me. Hopefully it was a blast for you. Thank you, Sharon. This was so gorgeous. I honestly have to say, I'm gonna do this myself a couple of times, because that on top of a package with even this could be the to and the from, right here is the little tag. That's a cute way to give somebody a gift, no matter the occasion, a holiday, a birthday.
You could put it on your head.
You can wear, yes. These could be adorable hair clips. It's a great way to reuse, recycle, repurpose, and that helps the environment, and that's also a beautiful thing to do. So thank you so much for being here. I love your hairpiece. It's gorgeous right now. Thank you again, guys. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to send us your photographs, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.